Hey everybody, it is late at night and I am Norman. Certina is a brand that I personally encountered via Joma Shop, and it was shortly after I discovered the pull router, and I was absolutely enamored with the aesthetic of the silver band around the edge of the dial and the crosshairs. And shortly after that was when I stumbled upon the Certina DS1 Powermatic 80. This watch had the silver band around the edge of the dial and the crosshairs. I bought one pretty much right after I found it. Shortly after it arrived, I took a trip to Vegas with my wife, my brother, and his wife, and I took my brand new Certina with me. We had such an amazing time, and after we got back, just looking at the watch took me right back to Vegas, to our amazing hotel room and all the fun that we had there. It was a visceral feeling, that excitement of arriving at a hotel room for the first time. Today, I no longer own that watch. It was just too big for me personally, and later on I achieved my goal of getting an actual pull router. But Certina still had a special place in my heart. And vintage Certinas go for a decent amount of money when you're looking at them on places like eBay. You're really not going to find a killer deal on a vintage Certina, at least that I've seen. So tonight, let's look at their history and some of the amazing watches that they produced back in the day and currently. Certina had its start in 1888. It was founded by two brothers, Adolf and Alfred Kurth. They began producing watches in Grenchen, which lies at the foot of the Jura Mountains in Switzerland. At that time, they had 3 employees. The brand was immediately successful. Their goal was to create quality sports watches. Originally, they went with the name Grana, which is short for Granicus, which is Latin for Grenchen. It was in the 1930s that they began going by the name Certina, and this name is a play on the Latin word for certus, which means sure. Although the name was registered in 1939, it wasn't until 1949 that the brand began going by that name officially. In 1959, the brand came up with the idea of the DS. These were extremely shock-resistant watches that also had 200 meters of water resistance. A Certina DS was proudly worn on the first ever climb of the Dhaulagiri mountain in the Himalayas. The brand also went to the depths of the ocean. In 1965, the brand took part in the US Navy SEAL's Underwater Sea Lab 2 project. And in 1983, the brand joined the Swatch Group. Some of their vintage pieces included brilliant chronographs such as this great-looking black dial watch. It featured large Arabic numerals for the hours with a minutes track around the edge of the dial. The minutes are called out in small Arabics just outside of the hour markers. The hands are syringe style, and the chronograph subdials are located at the 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock positions. It features an oversized crown and gorgeous chronograph pushers. While it was sporty, this piece is actually kind of dressy in aesthetic as well. They also made amazing looking dress watches, such as this super elegant gold-plated piece. It features gorgeous applied hour markers and a dotted minutes track around the edge of the dial. The hands are Dauphine and the dial is sterile except for Certina just below the 12 o'clock position. The watch has tiny lugs and is all dial with a very small crown. Absolutely gorgeous. They also dabbled with integrated bracelets and subtly octagonal cases. This particular piece is from the 1970s. It features thin applied batten markers for the hours and a subtle minutes track of thin batten markers around the edge of the dial. The hands are great looking, super textile, with a gap down the middle of them. There's a date window at the 3 o'clock and it is nicely framed in polished metal. The crystal and dial are done in an amazing looking rounded square shape. The brand also created some intriguing case-heavy rectangular watches under their Argonaut line in the late 1960s. These watches are slightly curved rectangular cases and small round dials set within the cases. This particular piece had a wide band of blue around the edge of the dial. Thick batten markers were set within this band, and with thinner batten minutes markers in between these. The hands were pencil-shaped with a section of black color near the base of the hands, and a thin line down their center. The seconds hand was done in a great orange color. These were super fun, time period fitting pieces. They even made an amazing looking pull router style watch, the Certina DS Blue Ring. This watch doesn't have the amazing lugs that the pull router does, however it does feature a great looking band around the edge of the dial and crosshairs on the dial itself. And it's a no-date watch. Dang it, now I need to create an eBay search for these watches. It looks absolutely brilliant. And today they're still creating amazing looking watches such as these. The DS1 Big Date, which retails for about $858. This watch features great looking sharp triangular applied hour markers. There are nice subtle minute markers around the edge of the dial and a great looking Big Date complication at the 6 o'clock. The lugs have a great looking bevel along their inside. These watches are great looking classy tool watches with 5 sectional bracelets. They are definitely modern in size at 41mm and feature the brilliant 8-hour power reserve DS movement within them. The DS Caimano. Caimano? These retail for $579. Certina also makes a great looking watch with a wide textured band around the edge of the dial, the Caimano. These watches have large Arabic hour indicators at the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. There's a nicely framed date window at the 6 o'clock position. The hands are pencil shaped and the overall aesthetic of this watch is classy and sporty at the same time. It also features the amazing 80-hour power reserve DS movement. The case size is 39mm and they feature a sapphire crystal. So there you have it, a brilliant brand that is part of the Swatch Group, some of the watches that they made way back when, and watches that they are still making today. A lot of these watches you could find on the gray market for about half of their suggested retail price. That's where I got mine, and it was an amazing watch. Thanks for watching.